팀의 경기 준비 끝났습니다. 자, 오늘의 세 번째 경기 테란과 프로토스의 경기입니다. 박성균 선수와 변현재 선수의 경기 단장의 능선으로 넘어가 보도록 하죠.
And our next game is going to be versus Mind. So it's going to be Mini versus Mind.
지금 액션 느털님과 함께하고 있는 KCM
And I believe this is crossing field, so I think this is going to be crossing field for our third game.
양 테란 진영과 저그 진영에서 한 명씩 킬을 당한 상황입니다.
네, 변현재 선수라면은 프로브가 지금 이제 나오는 프로브가 바로 달릴 것 같거든요. 네, 상대방을 가만히 냅두는 좋아하는 선수가 아니어서
Let me go ahead
지금
and
프로브가 바로 뛰쳐나가서 뭐 전진 게이트를 하든지
get this text set up so we can see. By the way, in the right-hand side, in the purple, that is going to be our Protoss player Mini, up 1-0 for Protoss, and on the left side of the map, in the white, the Terran player, it is going to be Mind. He's an absolute killer at this matchup, so definitely going to be seeing some good play coming out from him, I think.
쉬지 않고 플레이해주는 선수고. 일단 이 서치는 가스러시 서치네요. 예, 테란을 가스러시를 하겠다.
네.
라는 생각인 것 같습니다.
인파이터에 말씀하시죠.
박성균 선수는 감을 알고 있어야 돼요. 변현재가
Alright, I think we have a rudimentary scoreboard up.
예,
Tell me what you think.
됩니다.
Tell me if you like it.
어디
Alright.
많이 하는데.
So, we again have another proxy coming out from Mini. Mini just being tricky tonight, going for all kinds of crazy plays. He's actually going to go straight into his opponent's base. Maybe this is just a gas steal instead. So, is Mind going to be able to react in time? Is he going to be able to build that refinery? That's what I want to know, but here comes the gas steal. The gas steal is down, so that's going to be a little bit painful for the Terran player. It's going to be a while before he can actually get up the proper defenses that he needs to deal with it. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Heartbreak Ridge, not crossing field. So we are going to be on a Heartbreak Ridge. Almost always the gas steal is followed up by a Zealot coming out across the map. So Mind doing a pretty good job of placing that barracks right next to his CC. He's going to be able to very easily cram a couple of Marines in between that nook, in between the buildings, and deal with the Zealot coming out. It's not a huge deal for him. The biggest problem is just that by delaying that gas, it delays his factory tech by quite a while, and basically forces Mind to go for a gasless fast expand. Now, gasless fast expand is very easy to exploit because it is weak against early Dragoon pressure. It's weak against early Zealot pressure as well, because Marines are just so poor against gateway units in general. You really want those vultures out, you really want those siege tanks out to be able to deal with it. And so this is going to be a little bit annoying for Mind, but with good micro, the Terran player can usually deal with it. The advantage to it for the Protoss player is just that you force your opponent to do something that they're not comfortable with, and you really limit a lot of the options. And behind this, you can see actually Mini going for an expansion off of just the Zealot, not even a gas thrown down yet. He's going to get his gas now, so very fast expansion coming out from Mini, plus he's going to be able to put on a little bit of pressure with this first Zealot. I'm surprised that he left the Zealot home for so long, though. He really squandered a lot of opportunities that he could have with that, but with the second Zealot, maybe he can get some damage done. There aren't a lot of Marines out so far, and there's nothing for them to really hide behind in the natural. 4 Marines versus 2 Zealots wins every time. SCV is God, so we'll have to see how that turns out. Not the best play so far, but he did manage to zone for that first SCV. He's going to be able to kill off one SCV. That's really nice so far. Mostly, Mini's just looking to try to zone for his units while he kills off the SCV, but good micro coming out from Mind. He's managed to kill off all of that with just really good, solid Marine micro. Good stuff to see, so well done from him, and we are going to be moving into the next stage of the game with both players taking their expansions.
가져가기 시작하고 있는 변현재 선수.
So, our next point that we're going to be looking for is what sort of play is the Terran going to be doing? Is Terran going to be going into the 2-fact, or is Mine going to be playing a little bit safer, maybe a little bit greedier, and going in for the faster armory or a faster third? We'll have to see. 2 gates plus Dragoon range coming out for Mini, so he's looking to put on the pressure with that follow-up Dragoon range poke. Basically just forces Mine to build a bunker and keep SCVs on it, repairing until he gets siege tanks and siege mode tech up. Before then, he's going to have to rely on a good wall-off and this bunker in order to actually defend. And this is, again, this is Mini just shutting off the options that Mind has and forcing him to play Mini zone game. So, cool stuff coming out so far. It is going to be a 2-fact coming out from Mind, so he's going to be able to get a lot of units up pretty quickly. It's just going to allow him to take that 3rd base pretty nicely. And Mini may decide to go in for a bit of a standard play to follow this up while taking a 3rd base, but actually it's going to be a proxy robo. Is it going to actually get scattered out? What? What? Mind is a genius right now, so he actually scouts out the robo immediately. And with that being scouted, honestly, I would like for Mini to just cancel it and take a 3rd. But instead, he's going to continue to let it finish. And maybe just only build a shuttle and then let it die. I'm not entirely sure about that. When your opponent knows that it's there and it's already been scouted, you might as well just go ahead and let the pressure, like the mental pressure of, oh hey, this is here, you need to deal with this, do all of the damage for you. You don't have to actually build anything out of that. And as a result, you can actually save 200 by building your robotics facility a little bit closer to home. But instead, he's actually just going to forfeit it, let it stay up there. But really fast dropships coming out from Mind as well, so Mind is looking to be putting a little bit of counter pressure on with some early vultures and maybe a tank drop onto the high ground over here by this 3rd base of Mini. So lots of gas from Mind right now. He's not going to be taking a 3rd anytime soon. He's going to wait until he has tons of units before he really focuses in on that. I am super tired still from all that hiking I did this weekend. Sorry about that. So, both players just macroing out Mini taking his 3rd base. It is important to note that Mini has taken a very fast 3rd base. This is an incredibly fast 3rd base. He really needs to kill off that 1 mineral patch so he can move units across, but fortunately for Mike, he does have a drop coming out right as Mini is focused on this. Oh, it was just barely spotted, so Mini knows this is coming now. He is going to be prepared for this. He still hasn't killed off that mineral patch. It's driving me crazy. How long before he realizes that nothing has been mining at his 3rd base for a long time? This might actually end up being in his favor if a couple of vultures try to go up to the 3rd base, but a couple of vultures in the main right now doing quite a bit of economic damage and no units in position to deal with them. Finally, a couple of Dragoons get out here, but Mine's being laid here to slow down their progress. This is driving me crazy. Oh my god. Mini. Mini, please. Mini, please. Oh god, finally. Finally. Oh god. Oh. That hurts. That's like seeing a pro player like have like four drones and gas. Like you just, it's so painful to watch because you're like, one of those probes does go down to that mine, unfortunately. But another drop coming in from mine, coming in the back door, and now that that mineral wall is down, there's lots of stuff that you can be doing. I love this. Gonna tank drop on the high ground. Is the tank shot good? Oh, good tank shot so far. So much economic damage coming out so far from Mind. Oh my god, just so many probes going down, and this has been incredibly painful. Even more units going to be going down to the pressure of these mines plus the tank on the high ground. Eventually this will get cleaned up, but a lot of damage taken in the process, and I think there's still one more Vulture in here, so might be able to get some damage done in this third base. Only has 12 health, a couple of probes could be pulled to deal with it, but at this point there's just been so much economical damage on Mini. Even though he got a very fast third base and was able to get a very strong economy going in the early game, he's taken a lot of damage from Mine. And behind this, Mine has probably been getting its upgrades, has been getting a third base prep to land over at that third base area for him as well. So this is a pretty brutal amount of damage done, but actually Mine just going all in with this drop play. He's going to continue to do these tank drops, going up to 6 factories now with the extra armory coming up. So I think there's definitely going to be a +2 timing attack coming up pretty shortly. Unfortunately, these drops spotted out and units in position to deal with it. One of the dropships is going to be going down, so that's a little bit painful. That significantly weakens his pressure out on the middle of the map. He's trying to find an avenue to do some harassment with those vultures, but not going to be getting done at this point in time. Mini doing a really good job of rebounding and coming back in the game. I love the small adjustment here, getting the Corsair just as free drop defense against his opponent. He knows there's not going to be Goliath out on the map. It's just going to be tanking vultures for now, so getting that one Corsair out allows him to just patrol the map a little bit more cleanly, allows him to clean up drops and prevent continual pressure out on the middle of the map. But looks like there is going to be a move out coming from Mine right now. He's gonna go ahead and clean up this robotics facility up in the top left-hand corner of the map finally, while he goes ahead and sets up near this third base, gets it prepared for taking this third. There's going to be a timing attack coming out pretty shortly with +2 attack on the mech army, and that's going to be very strong. He's kind of sequestered himself up into the top left-hand corner of the map, but it is to some degree forcing Mini to react, and it may cause a problem for him as this drop comes in right now. We'll have to see. But these observers have been everywhere. They've been all over the map, and with the carriers on the way, Mini is hoping to buy enough time before he has to actually pull all of his units and defend. However, Mine is getting prepared for the next stage of his attack. Getting another drop on this high ground, this is absolutely disastrous. He's going to be able to get that tank sieged up and start putting spider mines on the high ground. It's going to take a long time to clean up, and this is just more economic damage that is causing problems. Luckily, the first 2 carriers are out, so he's going to be able to clean this up without too many problems, but he did manage to lose one of those Dragoons in the process, and this has been a little bit ugly. Trying to clean this up with a dropship and Zealots, but this is not going all that well for Mini. He's going to end up losing quite a few of these Dragoons, or at least taking lots and lots of damage on them. And that's going to further weaken his defenses for this next push. And this is so many units coming out from Mine right now. That full 6 to 8 factories pumping units non-stop. There's going to be a lot of pressure. And with only 2 carriers out on the map, it's going to be pretty rough. Luckily, there is that rotational symmetry on Heartbreak Ridge. It's going to allow Mini to kind of play around with the positioning of the mech army and go for potential counterattacks with his carriers if he ever gets a break in the action. But right now this mech army is setting up to get into this choke over by the third base, and since Mini hasn't really controlled this ridge over here by the third base, he's gonna have a lot of problems once this mech army gets in position. First couple of sieges are up, and here are the carriers trying to pick off some units, but there's a lot of Goliaths out right now, and they're actually going to be able to pick off quite a few interceptors before they get any real damage done. With more Goliaths coming out across the map right now, it's a little bit questionable if Mini can hold. He's going to really have to pull all of his resources and pull all the way back, wait till the last second to really go in. But losing his shuttle now with a couple of units in it, it's going to prevent him from dropping on top of the tanks, while the Goliaths would normally be invested in killing off all the carriers. And with more and more units piling into this third base, I'm really not sure that there's going to be enough. The tank count is still too high, and there's not enough room for these units to kite back properly. The Goliath's doing a ton of damage to these interceptors, killing off quite a few, And with a couple of tanks still alive, this pressure is still alive and well. Behind this, Mine is just continuing to re-macro. Even if he doesn't straight up win with this push, he's done quite a bit of damage to the army of Mini. He's going to be able to absolutely crush it on the re-macro. A good flank coming in here from behind with all these Dragoons. Going to finally be able to clean up the rest of these tanks, but in the meanwhile, another group of units pushing out into the center of the map, threatening the natural now. And, oh wow, getting on top of the carriers, going to be able to kill off one of the carriers, two of the carriers. So big damage done there. That is actually a pretty huge deal. So that's a pretty huge portion of the defenses for Mini right now. But these units, oh my gosh, they're getting on top of the carriers again. A third carrier goes down, even a fourth one. And this is absolutely disastrous for Mini. He has no units left in his natural to defend. He's going to be able to reinforce with the units over by his third base, but he's lost so many carriers. And the result of all of this pressure from Mine has really worn down his abilities, even targeted firing all the rest of the probes in this natural with his Goliaths. So Mine just doing an absolutely excellent job of breaking down his opponent from all sides. With a re-macro, he should be able to do quite a bit of damage. There's almost no mining in this natural. There's very little mining in the third base, and Mini isn't even producing probes at this point. He's trying to spend all of his money on getting the rest of those carriers out, making sure that he has enough gateways to buffer for the carriers in the next engagement, and just continually rebuilding those interceptors. So it's been a really rough economic period for him. He's trying to take a fourth base behind this, which may have been a little bit greedy, considering the position he was in. But now it's going to be scouted out by Mine, and Mine is on a beeline for that fourth base. He wants to kill it off, prevent Mini from actually getting back into this game. The carriers are down here to defend, but with only two left and not much of a ground army, it's going to be very difficult to actually deal with this mech army as it comes in. I'm a little bit surprised at how lean the mech composition is right now. I really expected to see a little bit more tanks coming in. But really the focus has been just largely in getting a ton of Goliaths out in favor over the ground domination of tanks and vultures. So Mine just playing a little bit of compositional chess. He's going to be taking his fourth base up in the top left-hand corner behind this as well, but he really needs to go ahead and deliver the final blow. He's done so much damage to the economy of Mini. He's managed to kill off a ton of those carriers for free, so this is really the kill zone. He can just come in here and straight up win the game. And it looks like Mini was actually prepared for a push down in the smaller choke area. Bit surprised to see Mine coming from this ridge area instead, and Archons are coming in, but I'm not sure they'll actually beat at this fourth base in time. You really need those Archon Zealots right on top of the tanks, but without having them in position in time, it might be a problem. Mini charging up his carriers on that Nexus, but there's just too many units here, and even with the forces that Mini has here, just all of them are going to be completely wrecked. There's way too many Goliaths, there's way too many tanks, and that base is going to be forfeit for Mini. At this point, he's in some real trouble. He only has 3 bases, he doesn't have the economy to mass produce gateway units and crush this army like you'd like to, and the carrier count is so low. Only 3 carriers out right now, 4 carriers maybe. Just a very weak ground army, and now even just losing a couple of Archons for free, that's really brutal. There's the GG. He knows there's no coming back. Mine doing a good job bringing Terran back into this series.